Perek Beis Hilchos Yesodei Hatorah. So in Perek Aleph, we said there's a God. You have to know that. It's a mitzvah to know that. And the real mitzvah, according to the Ram, is to engage in the fact. You have to know there's Hashem before you want to know what the mitzvah is. But maybe to know the details of Hashem's existence, of the fact Hashem is this way, not from parts. That's really more the oneness of Hashem. All right. So this is
an essential amunah in the but every has that. Every
right.
has that.
Right.
His DNA.
So the whole
that's not the mitzvah.
Right. In other words, the whole idea is the Matzarishan, everything comes from him. Those details are part of the mitzvah. The fact Hashem exists, the Ram takes it as a given. That's the chayr, not necessarily the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to know the details. Even before the oneness of Hashem, that He's the Matzarishan, everything comes from Him. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we can talk about it for a long time. Perek Beis. This honorable God. Mitzvah love, it's mitzvah to love him. We're meant to fear from him. The Rambam says Ava first. Interesting. Shneimar says v'hafta Hashem God. V'emer says in the pasuk.
Very clear.
Good. The Rambam is saying, but why first? As Hashem Hatorah, Hashem God, you should fear. No, two different pasukim. This is from Shema, right? Hashem Hatorah is okay. It's actually in the parak later, yeah. But the question is that why the Rambam says later. It's discussed about which mitzvah takes precedence, which mitzvah comes first. Okay. Anyway. The Mefarshim discuss. Yeah, fine. Okay, thou shalt love. How do you do an emotion? Right. So the Ram says, and what is the way to do this in fulfill this mitzvah and come to love and fear Hashem? And the Mefarshim explain. The question is, how do you give a mitzvah on an emotion? Yeah. So when the person contemplates Hashem's great works and His amazing creations, and he sees Hashem's wisdom in them, there's no limit to His wisdom; it's infinite wisdom. Then he immediately loves and praises and has an aspiration, right, and desire to know Hashem. My soul thirsts for Hashem. This is the mitzvah.
It's all you. When you realize how great the Eibush is, and how he created the world, you did everything.
Yeah.
So, it's not the Shema. That part is not the Shema.
Sorry, I'm not following. You're saying at that point you appreciate Hashem's greatness. That's not a problem. It's not the Shema. But in other words, the point of view that Rambam is saying the main mitzvah, the kima mitzvah of Ava and Yira is the contemplation according to the Rambam. The emotional result is something else. That's the Rambam is telling you it's going to happen, but that's not the gedder. The gedder of the mitzvah.
Because you can't expect someone.
So it's not. But the Rambam is clarifying the gedder of the. In other words, if a person engages into his abundance and the avir does not come for whatever reason, that doesn't mean you were mekan mitzvah. You are mekan mitzvah. Funny enough, that's the vort. The vort is these. That's the Rambam says all these things to think about. Why does he tell you go look in the Sfar and talk about all the greatness of Hashem, or go look in the Sfar and talk about the creation? There's a halachic obligation to contemplate these ideas. Yeah. When he thinks about these things, so first we're talking about love. Love means, and this is emphasized many times in the Farshman and the Rebbe as well, the feeling of the gap between me and Hashem and the type to close that gap. It's the distance that defines the ahava. There is another ahava where you experience the enjoyment of the closest. That's not what I was talking about. There's that
it's not the fact that he's in live with you.
He's amazing and I am nothing. That contrast and the desire to come close to him. That's the Ava, the desire to come close. The Yira is the feeling of distance, or the feeling of that's something else. But the desire, I wish that gap was smaller. That's Ava. That's the Ava. When we think about these things, that's to Ad Kana Ava. Yeah. Now, when he thinks about these things. He says, that's what I emphasize this point. Yeah. Ram talks about it as well. Okay. When the person thinks about these things, immediately he shrinks back, I guess you would say, right? The Vira, he's afraid, recoils. Oh, thank you. The Vira, he's afraid, he's in awe, he knows he's a small creature, low and dark. The guf is called dark because it obscures Kedusha. He stands in a small, small knowledge, he's very small intelligence compared to Hashem. Before the perfect of knowledge, meaning before Hashem. What David says, when I see your heavens, is the greatness of creation, etc. What is man? You should remember him. That's when David Melch felt small. That's when David Melch felt a sense of fear of Hashem. Yeah. Good. Mepharshim described that this idea of appreciating Hashem's greatness brings a love to Hashem, and the awareness that whatever you understand, Hashem is really greater than that. That creates the yira, the fear of Hashem. Right. And based on this principle, I'm going to explain basic principles regarding the work of creation of the Master of the Universe. There should be an opening, not a full curriculum, because you can never talk about Hashem's greatness, how great creation is, but to understand and to love Hashem. So to comprehend and to love Hashem, as we just said, that the loving Hashem is comprehension of His greatness. Understand the greatness of creation, the details of creation. You can understand and know the Creator of the world. And I think that among Yidden, before science became so anti-religion, it was more oisgehalten that Yidden would have some awareness of. I guess it depends which, maybe by Sfardim or Ashkenazi, but some awareness of science to learn the Gadlus HaBeira when science became verhacked and verdreht with all the Darwinianism, Mishigas.
That's not coming to one close. That's
the Rambam's point of view is that this is abundance. I think that according to the Rambam, the idea you have to think about that brings to Ava is the same that brings to Yira. It's not two different concepts, but that same concept will bring to both Ava and Yira. But it seems that the Mepharshim say that there's like the appreciation for Hashem's greatness and how small I am, and the desire to come close to Him is the love, and the Yira is how insignificant I am compared to Him, but also how great He is more than I can understand Him. So it's okay. It's both. So there's other Makaridas in Chazal that the loving Hashem comes from understanding the brilliance of Torah and mitzvahs, or the greatness of Torah and mitzvahs. The Ram doesn't emphasize that. The Ram doesn't emphasize that. That's more in Sifra and Sifri. Yeah, the Ram doesn't say that. Okay, good, fine.
This is more.
Exactly. Yeah, or the world Hashem created rather. Right. But yeah, so it's interesting because but a person wants comes out. If I'm not understanding this, and you can push back if you want. Any area of the hard sciences, physics and astronomy and biology, is really understanding Hashem's greatness, if you understand it correctly, right? Unfortunately, some knowledge don't say that, but okay. But the truth is, when a person wants to think about Hashem's greatness, we learn Chassidus, right? Why? First of all, because you learn about Hashem is beyond the world. Also, because the Inyan itself is Torah. If you're reading a physics book, astronomy book, you can understand Hashem's greatness in the universe as well, but it's not Torah, right? That's the difference. Okay.
Yeah, that could bring you to
but it's not Torah itself. Okay. Call Mashabar Kashbach So the Rambam says, I'm giving you a crash course in the basics of understanding, and the Mepharshim talk about what the Rambam is really saying over here. It could seem externally to be just a crash course in the basic science of his times. And there are Mepharshim who say that because of that, and the science is different, and just like the Rambam himself writes in Moed Nevuchim that in the Gemara Pesachim, the Chazal and the Chachamim Yisraelim had to argue, and the Chacham were made to them. Therefore, Lav Daf, the Rambam says the Rebbe learns that what the Rambam puts us in the Chazaka, it's Torah. And it's the Abish's words. And I think that you could say that in other words, even if the way the Rambam meant them to be taish, you can learn them differently based on certain things. That's the words are the Abish's words. So if the Rambam says in one place that the earth is 60 times the sun is 60 times the earth or something. So the Rebbe says that's diameter. The Rambam's talking about diameter. Diameter, it's true. So the mass. Now it sounds like I'm talking about mass. So but did the Rambam mean that? But the Rebbe is saying that's what Rambam's words are. Emes Lamite. Okay. Whatever Hashem created in this world, he divided in three categories. What are the three categories? Shem, Cham, and Yafes, right? No. Okay. Shmehem, they are them. Brim, Shem, Gebrim, Mechabar, Megillah, Matsura. One type of creation is creation that's a composite of form and matter, which is most things in the physical world. These are things that become, and they get destroyed eventually. They rot away. They disintegrate. No, there's a word. There's a better word. Okay, Talmud constantly. They're constantly, losing their form. The bodies of animals and man, and plants, and inanimate objects like metals and minerals, whatever. Yeah, that's one category. And from them, you have other things which are composite of form and matter, like the first category. They don't change. In the world, you have constantly types of plants are growing and they die and they rot. So stones, according to the Rambam, according to the science, I think as well, they have a very gradual shift in terms of how they are impacted over time. These creations, their chaymer and tzura is the same. Their image is established in their form as it is, and it's forever that way. They don't change like the first category. For example, the spheres that Rambam will describe in later on, and the stars among them, according to the Rambam, sun and the moon, are as they are. They don't change. There's no gradual shift over time in their constitution.
They don't lose
Right.
power there, whatever.
Right, they don't shift. In this world, everything is slowly shifting. It's all with time. It rusts, it rots, whatever. Yeah. They ain't galmon
As soon as
kashag.
you're born, you begin to...
Oh, exactly. They ain't galmon kashag galmon. Their form, matter. Excuse me. Their matter is not like other matter. Nor is their form like other form. According to the Rambam, the heavenly spheres and the heavenly bodies are a different type of creation than the ones on earth. There's a third category. They are a form without matter. Yeah.
Stars have a matter.
Oh, they are the angels. The malachim are not made of body or a body. Are both mean body. Yeah. They are simply only energy, only form without matter. But they're not the same. Different from each other, right? It's funny that Rambam holds taka that malachim have no guf. In Tanya, other places, it's mashma do have a guf, but according to Rambam, they don't have a guf. At least not in the Rambam's lexicon. Oh, that's also true. That's how the form changes. It's various stories that in the Rambam's geder, in other words, what's considered a guf of a malach in the Rambam's lexicon is a tzura, not a chaymer. As I was mizagin. It's a form, not a matter. Yeah. Right, because again, matter is the physical part of it, and form is like the spiritual part, the part that makes one collection of molecules different than the other collection of molecules. Right, that's form.
Besides not only angels, all of the things that are higher than angels,
Yeah.
they're also existent. They're also a creation.
So according to in the Rambam's lexicon, there's nothing higher than angels except Hashem. The Rambam does it. So that we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see in a second. We'll see in a second. This parak. We'll see. Now the Rambam is going to go on to ask the kasha. What do you see in Psukim in Tanakh? Again,
they have no guf. They have a tzura.
Oh no! So tzura is guf is chaymer. They don't have a. There's no guf, no chaymer. There's no matter. It's a form. Now the chayra. What does it mean? He saw that the Rambam's question he's answering is the Rambam is going to first explain the third category, then go back to the second and the first. Yeah. Okay. So what exactly is this type of what? Like the malachim have fire in Parsha Shemayis, right? Or balknafayim, and the malachim have wings. So the Rambam explains. In other words, if it's a whole different gather, they don't have exactly the form like we have, or they don't have form like we have. So what exactly does it mean? It's all a mashal that's being presented in the prophecy, but as a metaphor for what the malach is representing. For example, the fire and wings is a metaphor that the malach in the lexicon of a human, the Navi is looking at it. It's not heavy, it doesn't have the grubbiness and the weight of physical form, right? So that's why it's showing as fire. What's the Rambam's raya? That's what the fire means. Hashem is a consuming fire. Now by Hashem for sure it's a metaphor because he said Hashem has no image. Over there the pasuk is saying Hashem is going to consume the grain. It's not even trying to say that Hashem is lighter because Hashem is not lighter or heavy, right? But you see clearly in the pasuk that the image of a fire is a mashal. So Hashem's not a fire, but see, it's a mashal.
You can understand why someone, a Pashut person, could say the image has a form.
Exactly, that's what Ram has to clarify. The pasuk says Hashem makes wind his malachim. So we see that also. The pasuk of the pasuk is again Hashem sends wind as messenger to do things, to blow the trees so the leaf falls, etc. But also the emphasis is that you see that malachim are called ruach, winds. Again, even though they don't have wind over there, there's no concept of air, but it's all a mashal. Now, I'm asked a klutz kasha. The pasuk says many places that there's different malachim. There's different. We have many malachim. It's Avinu. Oh, right. It says Yifku Malach Elokim. There's many different angels. It's a davar apasha that you can't have. I have two ideas for you, and these ideas are exactly identical. But then it's one idea. You can't have two things without if it's two identical twins, the mashal, if it's exact even. So the physical form divides them. But if it's not, there's no chaymer, it's all this surah, if they're identical, then they're one and the same. So what makes one malach and another malach? What makes these malachim, these matters, these forms, different from each other? But in a group, there's no body. So two malachim are the exact same thing. What makes one malach, two malach? What makes it the same? Because in your mind you can imagine standing next to each other. If they're identical, you can't have two spheres that are the exact same. They have to be different. So now I'm answering the fish ain't shav mitzvusah because they're not the same in their existence. They're different in exactly their nature or what the mile of one over the other is. If they were the exact same madrega, the exact same nature, they wouldn't be separated.
They're not because one is fire and one is water.
So that's taka different. But the Rambam is saying we know clearly that there's more than one malach. But what makes one different than the other?
What? Just because they don't have the
You and I,
form?
yeah, because if it's in the Gash physical world, time and space divides them. Then they're not the exact same thing.
It's different from Yom HaShavah. Is that a
Yeah. So that's in my mind, your mind, because we're two different people can have the exact same idea. But in the spiritual aspect, it's not shaykh that you have two emotions of ava to the same, two different emotions of ava that are identical. If they're identical, what are the same emotion?
You didn't need.
Good. Fine. So because you and I are divided by time and space, but malacha are not. So bazoi, what makes them different? So after the Rambam, because they're not identical, you have higher in the same category of malachim. Rambam tells us 10 kinds of malachim, 10 categories of malachim. In that group of Vayis, there's different levels, one above the other. And they are existent from the koyach. Each one is found in its state of its koyach, its power, its nature, one higher than the other. And it all comes from, as a result, the Eibusher's koyach. The Eibusher creates everything, and the Eibusher gives rise to them. Fine. You have a Shemer, a guardian, higher than the guardian. Notice Hashem tells Malach 10 to command Malach number 9, the Malach number 8, etc., down to Malach number 1 to actually go and do whatever it is. So this whole system of hierarchy, this is what the Rambam is describing. Al derech. But it's even serious, right? It's not shaykh to have, in Seder Shtalshlus, two spheres are identical.
No.
They have to be different. Why? Because if they're identical, then what separates them?
Even though they have no Messias.
Exactly. So even malachim, which are less ruchnis than the spheres.
It makes more sense there than somewhere. There are 10 malachim, one higher than the other.
So that is because what does it mean higher than the other? There's no space there. So the question is still there. Yeah. The Ram explains. That was saying each one is higher than the other. It doesn't mean in terms of altitude. It's higher in the sky. He's sitting on a higher chair than the other guy. We say one person is greater than his fellow in wisdom. He's greater than the mile of the person. Like we say that a cause is higher than the effect. That's higher, comes before. In other words, even if it's not higher in Mila. So the Mashal, even the Farshim over here, explain like the Mashal, Hashem created the sun. Okay, Hashem chose to do it this way. But even in Seichel, it's not because you have a sun, and then step 2 is you have light from the sun. As soon as the sun existed as a luminary, the was right there. So you say the sun is higher than the light. Why is it higher? It's not higher. The idea is it came prior in concept. That's what the mile here means. So either
one is a more, one is
so the Ram is good. So the Ram is saying over here that in by the malachim, when one's higher than the other, means one is a cause for the other, or it's greater than the other in terms of it's closest to Hashem, if you will. So that's what it means to do different. Yeah. So we have a bias because we use Lashon of Chassidus, so it's a little different. So yeah. Good. Weiter. Now, and to make this point, the Ram explains that the names of Malachim are different. The names are because they're different nature. Again, the Ram is assuming we either learned the whole Tanakh in the Hakdama because he told us to, or we know if someone told us, the Ram says to learn to divide your time, a third in Chumash, a third in Halacha, a third in knowing Gemara. So you just on your journey in Talmud Torah, you probably don't. You start the Rambam, you probably all just started Tanakh, so maybe you don't know. But the Psukim refer to Halacha many different lashonos. Ifanim, Arelim, and Chashmalim, and the Ram says like this: the names of the angels, Al Shem Alusim, it's based on their Mila, which I also think can mean not just their level of how high they are, but also their nature. Therefore, they're called Chayes, because they're holy Chayes, the holy animals. That's the highest kind of malach. But they're
all of these.
That's the highest kind of malach. No, the highest level of malach. And these 10 levels, it's not found anywhere in Nigla. It's in the Zohar. I think there's one level different than the Rambam puts it, but that's where the Rambam gets it from. They said, the Rambam Kabbalah. Okay, so there's some people tiny that the person who found the Zohar put it because he found the Rambam. That's shtus. Next, and Chayes HaKodesh, because even the Malach on the highest level, but compared to Hashem, they're like animals are to a person. That's what they call the holy Chayes. Okay, Hil Malach is the highest of all. So that's the highest kind of Malach. Vayifanim. The Mefarshim explain all these different names why they're called Ifanim because they have many faces. I believe the Arelim, the Chashmalim, the Srafim because Hashem burns them. The Malachim. There's a standard name of Malachim, which means messengers, Velikim, because Hashem gives them dominion, Velikim, which is the next level, right under that, or Kruvim, which is either Lashon Melech or Lashon that you have a face like a child, compared to a higher Malach is like an adult, and the Kruv is like a child, the Ishim, and those Ishim because of the closest level to people. Good. These 10 names from angels, it's because they're 10 milas. Now there's more than 10 malachim, right? It says in Pesukah there's thousands of malachim. Yeah. So Muzmizagin that in these 10 levels there's different levels gufa, but the Mefarshim talk about that.
No, these are the highest malachim.
No, these are all 10 because these are the 10 levels of malachim, and the Mefarshim explained that Muzmizagin that in each level there's different types of different levels. What's the highest level of angels? What's the highest level of angels? Nothing higher than except Hashem Himself. He malas truth and he calls highest. That's the mila of the tsuris, the forms, which are called chayas. So every time my mother told me I was a chaya, I should have said, "Yeah, I'm an angel." Therefore, it says by prophecy, it's under the kisa, under the Hashem's holy throne, because they're right under Hashem, so to speak. Chazal call us the Merkava, because when it says the Malachim are carrying the throne, Kaviyach Hashem is riding the Malachim, so it's like he's like the kisa, like a Merkava. Okay. Hamala Asir is the 10th level, the lowest level.
That's strange, because nothing is comparable to the other stuff.
Right. Right. In other words, how is the Rambam? It sounds like the Rambam is not giving you the contrast of whether, for lack of better language, you forgive me, from Hashem to the highest Malach is that more or close to the highest Malach, the lowest Malach? Obviously, it's much higher, but okay. The 10th level, the lowest level, is the Malach are called Ishim. These are Malachim. When an angel sees when a Navi sees a Malach, a person sees a Malach, it's the lowest level, because the high level is a person cannot perceive. That's called Ishim, which sounds like the people because they're similar to people. It's similar to a person.
Those guys that are Nigerians, right?
Exactly. All these living forms, the angels, they know Hashem, they recognize Hashem, they understand Hashem with a great awareness. Each malach based on its advantage. So the highest malach understand Hashem the most, and Ishim the least. Not according to the greatness of Hashem. They don't understand Hashem, but Hashem understands Himself. And not according to its greatness. God loy is Hashem's greatness. That's what He says over here. I think that's. What do you say about you? Like kifi God loy. So there's another gear set that says ulafi God loy. Based on the mila of that malach. According to this case, the God, the Rambam is clarifying that they understand Hashem based on their perception, not according to Hashem's true greatness. Right. As he says clearly, even the highest of the malachim doesn't understand Hashem as he is himself. It's smaller than that, because even the greatest malach can't understand Hashem mamish, because Hashem is greater than that. Nonetheless, the highest malach level malachim understands Hashem more than the one lower than it. Every level 9 is more than 8, and 2 is more than 1. Even the lowest level of malachim understands Hashem in a way where it's not possible for a person to comprehend Hashem. The Rambam is going to tell us in the future prakim that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to understand Hashem. Yeah. Oh, in Perek Aleph, sorry, it was already, right? Yeah. But even that, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't understand the way the lowest malach understands. Moshe discussed, and first to say that there are depends on some kind of once it gets to tzaddikim, it gets a little bit competitive with the malachim. Okay. Nobody understands Hashem like Hashem Himself, right? Nobody understands me. Hashem needs therapy. So the point is the Eibishter's understanding of himself is perfect, and nothing can understand Hashem, even the highest malach.
Because he's
exactly. Right. Can't understand Hashem as He is. But this is important to understanding Hashem's greatness. And we have to know that our mitzvah of knowing Hashem is not Hashem Himself, obviously. Which always have to understand. Even Malach can understand Hashem.
Our mitzvah is not to know Hashem.
Our mitzvah is to be, we have to understand Hashem, we have to understand the best of our ability Hashem's greatness through creation and through understanding these Malachim. We have to remember that we never understand Hashem Himself. Yeah. So, in case you weren't sure. Again, if you look at this, it's not a problem. But
this whole thing is very strange.
Because we come with like a no, the Rambam is coming with what you call chakir the halachic, but also the Rebbe reads into the Rambam in the first 2 parakim all of Chassidus. Yeah. Call him saying everything that exists except for Hashem. The tzura rishena from the highest tzura, meaning the highest malach. Ad yatash kodesh sheyevet habor, till the smallest mosquito in the middle of the earth. It's in the middle of the earth. Hakrel and koyach hamitasi. So they all are found from Hashem's koyach of creation. Again, you can understand this. Hashem recreates it every second, but for sure, it's from Hashem's creative power that the universe exists. And because Hashem knows Himself and knows His own glory and truth, therefore He knows everything. Since Hashem created everything,
It doesn't come from the Lashon.
no. And everything. So in the Rambam's lexicon, it's on Malachim there to sort of do certain things in the process of the world, to do things, not to create things necessarily. Not to create things. I think it's mashma.
The fact that everything knows everything doesn't mean that the founding and the all these things didn't have our spot on these things that are created.
No, but it's after in creation they don't play a role. But once Hashem created them, the Hashem gives them jobs to do in continuing the process of creation. So in Chassidus it explains there's a concept Hashem creates through certain through Koyach Ruchni, you could say even through certain malachim, maybe certain elements of Bria. But here the Rambam's not saying that. Here the Rambam, they're messengers. Their job is, and the truth Hashem created the malachim. It doesn't say the Rambam actually when Hashem created them, but it says Hashem created them on the third day of creation, I believe, right? So, okay, good. Therefore, so let's read this again. Halacha test. Everything that exists except for Hashem. From the highest, sort of from the highest malach to the smallest bug in the middle of the earth. All comes from the truth of Hashem's existence. So it's found. Since Hashem knows Himself and knows His own truth of His own glory and His own existence, therefore He knows everything. Nothing's hidden from Him. Hashem knows Himself, and everything comes from creation. But Mela, therefore Hashem knows everything in the world. That's the word. The Rambam's point.
What do you have to say that He knows His greatness?
No, so the Rambam's point is Lachayud, because otherwise you're saying Hashem knows something through the power of awareness of that, knowing that thing. And Lachayud can emphasize that Rambam knows that if that was the case, then the Hashem's awareness of what's happening in the world is not Hashem Himself, and then according to Rambam is Hashem Himself. Right. But mainly that's why the Rambam says this. Hashem knows His truth and knows it, recognizes His truth and knows it as it is. He doesn't know it in an awareness that's outside of Him, or if you will, independent of Him. Like we know, there's me, there's the fact that I know. And if a human being loses his ability to know things, he becomes brain dead. He's still a human being, right? But we know things because we have one of the aspects of our existence is the fact that we're aware. But that's not what defines our existence. Not one thing. But the Creator, who He and His knowledge. And the fact that he's alive, his Chaim is obviously different than ours, right? Echad Mikol Pina is one from all angles, right? The lashon who amadi dehiyudua, that lashon is. Oh, we'll see in a second. The different places Rambam says it. Okay, so because if Hashem was alive in a life, if Hashem was chai b'chaim, Hashem was alive, based on what's called life, like we're alive, and He knew through the faculty of knowledge, there would be multiple gods. Who v'chai v'daita, Him, the fact He's alive and His awareness. So, in other words, the Ram told us before that Hashem is not comprised of multiple aspects, but if Hashem is perfect in His knowledge. So then if you're going to say that Hashem is not defined by His knowledge, but He has perfect knowledge, and that knowledge is infinite and perfect, so then there's like multifacets in Hashem Himself. That's not true. He's one from all angles and all aspects and all ways of oneness. We could spend hundreds of hours discussing this Rambam. Of course, the Maral in Gvurus Hashem attacks the Rambam that Chazal call Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not HaSeichel Baruch Hu. And the Alter Tanya explains that pre-Tzimtzum, that's taka true. The Eibusha has them. He can't say Hashem is Seichel. After Tzimtzum, there's Esespheres, the Chacham B'Yadas. Even in Kesed, then you could say Hashem is Seichel. Hashem is intelligence, so to speak. And that's what the Rambam is saying is correct. All right. Fine. Turns out, he is the knower. He is the known. He is the thing being known. It's all one. So now, 1 second. Does that mean that the Rambam is saying that the world is one with Hashem? Not necessarily. You could. So in other words, the Rambam is saying that anything that exists comes from Hashem's koyach of creation, and Mabela, Hashem knows doing Himself. But if, as the Rebbe learns in the Rambam, that because the world only exists in the truth of His existence, nothing can exist without the truth of His existence. It means it's an ongoing thing. So even the creation itself, even the universe itself, Eibusha knows it by knowing Himself, because the world is one with Hashem. That's how you can learn even what Chassidus says in the Rambam. As you can see very clearly, it's not something which people can describe. Nor the ear to hear it, nor a person's heart to comprehend fully, properly, right? Okay, Derech Agav in the Nefesh HaChaim, he also discusses this. Sefer that the Volozhiner wrote to compete with Tanya. He also explains. He steals from Dr. Rebbe, but okay, anyway. Well, the Fichach, and therefore, no, it's in Heichal Baal Shem Tov, I forgot which one. They go through all the places where he plagiarizes from Tanya, Nefesh HaChaim. All right, the Fichach, therefore, we say. So that's a very nice liberal perspective, but there's a ma'aseh that by one of the Sudas, the Rashag and the Rebbe were talking about Shittus and Tzimtzum, and the Rashag said could be I have to learn Nefesh HaChaim, because there this is discussed. The Rebbe said if you don't not the Rebbe says something like, you want to do what you want, don't say I said it, because since he wrote it to compete with Tanya, the Rebbe didn't want to like give him like the green light on that one. Okay, I'm not listening. Someone's asked Rabbi Heller, is it okay to learn not Nefesh HaChaim, Mesil Shesharim? So I think Rabbi Heller says something like, do you read CO Alive? Yeah, you can read Mesil Shesharim also. He was being polite. CO Alive is Nashon Nakiya. All right. The Fichach, it's like, people, the Tanakh, can't learn, tarnished. Okay, let's watch movies. Tisha B'Av or Tanakh, yeah. Therefore it says in the pasuk, Chei Parei, the life of Parei, Chei Nafshecha, the life of your soul. These are Pesukim. We don't say life of Hashem. That's like saying that's Hashem, and then there's the fact he's alive, and there's like the life of Hashem. Elachai Hashem, the living God, Hashem alive. It's not independent. That's why it's Chai versus Chai. Hashem and His life are not two separate independent concepts, like the life of a body, or even the life of the Malachim. Even Malachim are not defined as the fact that they're alive. There's an independent concept. There's a Malach. The fact that the Malach's alive. So yeah, over there it's a little bit more, one and the same. Because you don't have, there's no concept of a body that's not allowed by Malach, but it's still not the same as by Hashem. The Fichach, and therefore, that's why he says therefore Hashem, who is one with His knowledge, doesn't, so to speak, know that which is of creation and know them as they are, as we know them. There's me, and I know this thing. Ella machas atzmi, he knows it as he knows himself. Because Hashem knows himself, he knows everything. Because everything is a result of His creation. So the Farshim explain that like a difference between how a person who creates something and designs something knows it, and a person who studies it knows it. So I design a certain tool, and then you study it, and you know it also, but you don't know the way I know because I designed it. That's the Pashup Shah. But again, like Primus and Yanim, it's Hashem creates the world every single second. So then B'meila, the world is not an independent thing from Hashem. It seems independent, but B'meila Hashem knows the world to knowing Himself. That says, these things that we said in this content, these two programs, Alpha and Beis, really to drop from the ocean. You think this is the whole thing? I'm giving you mamish, a sneak peek, right? So why doesn't the Rambam give us the full picture? We'll see in a second. These things are called the mice of the chariot, because really they're all included in the Nevu, where the Rambam described those, the Chayes HaKodesh, with the Malachim, or the Malchais HaKodesh. The Malachim are described as carrying Hashem's throne. Because they're carrying it, Hashem's like riding the Malachim. Chazal called the Merkava, the chariot. It's not a regular chair, this is a chariot. That's how the Ma'aser Merkava term came to be. And according to the Rambam, it's the study of these concepts that Chazal referred to in the Gemara Chagiga when they describe Ma'aser Merkava. These in Yonim. Okay, good. All the things are basically of Kabbalah and Chassidus, really, right? So, okay, so that's Ma'aser Merkava. Now I give you a little bit. 1 second. The Rambam told us love and fear Hashem. Tell us more. The early Chacham, the Mishnah commanded, don't give a drasha to these concepts. Don't give a shear. Teach one person. And that one person, that's tamazoi. One person you see is shaykh to understand these things. Some people learn these things with them. They're not. Their minds aren't capable of understanding these abstract, subtle concepts.
Very abstract.
Yeah. After you teach him, after he understands on his own a little bit, so you give him the concept, the basics, who may have not understands more on his own. The idea is, then eventually comes to the depth on his own, right? The Ram actually is being even more mach than the Gemara if you look at it carefully, because the Ram holds two things: one at a time, no Kabbalah yeshivas, one at a time, and it has to be somebody who's dafka shaykh. Okay, they're very deep concepts. If they ain't called das and bedas no, not a mind, and mind cannot really understand them. He brings over here from the Rambam that a person really can't. When it comes to learning these things, nothing you can do except the person to direct his heart to Hashem and to daven to Hashem. They reveal him the secrets which are hidden in the Kisvei HaKodesh, the holy writings. Which holy writings? The Rambam is into Kabbalah, obviously. Those who claim the Rambam didn't know Kabbalah. Anyway, good. Referenced them in his wisdom in the Sefer Mishnah when he said, as a metaphor, your clothing is made of sheep wool. But it means the kacha macham, it means like this. They explain the metaphor, things that are secrets. Kivshin can be like a oven. But it also means like a cloak, cloaked. Like the word cloaked also means hidden, right? It's cloaked in mystery, yeah? Things that are the world, that hidden, they should be under your garment. By you alone, don't preach them in public. It says it should be only to you alone, meaning even to an individual, don't teach unless he's someone who's shaykh. Honey and milk under your tongue. What they're telling is, the Shlomo is not giving you a menu over here. He's saying things that are sweetened like honey and like milk, you under your tongue, they are secrets that should not be taught to Rabbim. So the Rambam tells us over here, the first thing you have to know to be is know these things, but he tells Dafke not barichus. Fascinating. And then he tells you everything else you have to know to be a yid, and at the end he tells you that what? That when everything is accomplished over Shech's going to come, this is the only thing we're going to learn. Fascinating. So in the Rambam's lexicon, you have the understanding things at the basic level. Then you have to do Torah mitzvahs to perfection, and then after that you can learn these inyanim either as an individual or as yidden as a whole. Mashiach. However, nowadays we know the Rizal taught us that nowadays already it's time to megal these things to everybody as a akdama to the gula. Okay.